Hello everyone, my name is Sarafi and I'm happy to meet you all. And today we're going to be playing Sunavalon. I dissed this deck quite a bit and I still don't think it's going to be particularly amazing, but I think that the deck has a lot of potential and I think that you guys will have a lot of fun playing the deck, which is what's important for an anime style deck. So let me talk about the different ways that you can play the deck and the main combos you're going to be using. The skill is called Sprouting of the Sacred Seed. You can only use the skill's second and third effects once per duel. At the beginning of the duel, add Sunvine Gardener, Sunvine Healer, and Sunvine Thrasher to your extra deck. During this duel, you cannot special summon monsters except Earth Plant monsters or Link monsters. This is unfortunate. Basically, Sunvine Thrasher, which is your ace monster, allows you to special summon a monster from your opponent's graveyard whenever it destroys it in battle. And the skill prevents you from doing that. I don't know why they did this. So unless you are destroying a Link monster in battle, you are not able to use Sunvine Thrasher's effect. Unless it happens to be an Earth Plant, I guess. That's very sad, but otherwise the skill makes perfect sense. You don't want to use any non-plant Link monsters, don't bother. For the second effect, you could shuffle one monster from your hand into the deck, and add one Sunvine effect monster or one Sunseed effect monster from your deck to your hand. Usually I use this to get Sunvine Maiden for extra protection. If a monster is on your opponent's field, shuffle one plant monster from your hand, face-up field, graveyard, or among your banished cards into the deck. Then you can play one Sunseed Genius Loci from your deck in face-down defense position, and you can flip summon it. Great. So this card allows you to recover important cards from your graveyard, maybe a Link monster that's already been used, maybe a monster that was banished by one of your opponent's cards, and just get another Loci out. Great extension. For the main deck, we have Lone Fire Blossom, a level 3 fire plant monster. Once per turn, you contribute one face-up plant monster to special summon one plant monster from your deck. It doesn't have to tribute itself. And this will allow you to bring out your Sunseed Genius Loci, which is what we bought. We are playing 2 copies of Rose Girl. Rose Girl is a tuner monster. It's level 3, and it is Earth, so we can special summon it. If a face-up plant-type monster you control is sent to the graveyard, you can special summon this card from your hand. Sweet. So that allows us to get extension. If a plant monster is on the field, this card is in your graveyard, you can add this card to your hand. You can only use one Rose Girl effect per turn, and only once that turn. So this card allows you to get access to cards like Sunavalon, Dryas, again, after the main turn has already gone through. So just some kind of staying power for the deck. I like this card. 2 might not be the right ratio for it, but that's what I'm using for right now. It's good to have more monsters in the deck so that you can shuffle them away for the skill, and most of the time I'm just tossing Rose Girl back to get Sunvine Maiden. I'm not too worried about it. Sunseed Twin. If this card is normal or special summoned while you control a Sunavalon Link monster, you can target one level 4 or lower plant monster in your graveyard and special summon it. You can banish this card from your graveyard and one Link monster you control. Then if you have 2 or more plant-type Link monsters with the same name as each other in the graveyard, special summon one of them. Cool, so it turns one of your monsters on the field into one of the twins in your graveyard. Nice effect. You will special summon this card off of your Sunvine Sowing while you have your Sunavalon Dryas, which will trigger its effects to get your Sunseed Genius Loci back from the graveyard, and that's your main combo. I'm running it at 2 to make sure that we can always have it in the deck, because it's special summoned from the deck. If you happen to draw both of them, you use the skill first to shuffle one of them into the deck and trade it for main. Sunseed Shadow, level 1. If you control a plant normal monster, you can special summon this card from your hand. Nice. You can banish this card from your graveyard, and then target one linked Link 2 or lower Sunavalon or Sunvine monster you control. Special summon one monster with the same name from your extra deck, but negate its effects. Also, you cannot special summon for the rest of the turn except plant-type monsters. You can only use each effect once per turn. Shadow's ability is pretty weird. Essentially, if you have your Dryades or your Dryanome or your Dryan Trentier, then you can essentially clone one of your Sunvine Maidens or your Sunvine Healers or your Sunvine Gardeners. I'm not even running more than one copy of each of these. And essentially, because you can only special summon monsters from the extra deck to a zone a Link monster points to. So you have to have like a Link 4 out that has multiple arrows, and then target one of your linked Link 1s to special summon it from the extra deck so that you can Link climb, I guess. This will probably be more useful once we get Daphne, because Daphne has arrows that actually point, left and right, so you could reasonably use this effect. But for a card like Melius, for example, if Melius is in your extra monster zone, it doesn't point to anything, so It's hard to actually use this card's effect right now, but the special summon is fine. Sunvine Maiden, level 1, Plant. When your opponent activates a card or effect that targets a plant monster you control that was special summoned from the extra deck, has a quick effect, you can special summon this card from your hand. Then if you do negate the effect, don't destroy the card. Great! Extra protection. We get this with the skill. We will be able to make sure our board is protected. You can only use this effect once per turn, and while this card is face up on the field, your opponent cannot target Sunavalon or Sunvine spells or traps you control with card effects. Just spells and traps. So this protects your Sunvine Shrine once we get that, your Sunvine Crossbreed if you have it, I'm not running it, and your Sunavalon Bloom, which is really, really good. Lokai, level 1, Earth Plant. We are playing 1 for 1 because of that. Good card. 1 for 1, send a monster from your hand to the graveyard, special summon 1 level 1 monster from your hand or deck. Pitch Rose Girl, special summon Lokai, Rose Girl, pull her stuff back. World Legacy Succession, target 1 monster in your graveyard, special summon it to a zone a link monster points to. You can only use this effect once per turn. I am running this at 1. I almost think you should play this card at 3, because it's really, really good. I don't have it at 3. I might get it at 3, just for this deck. This is a very, very powerful card, and it allows you to basically get a free Monster Reborn, and you want to revive your Melius so that you can get 2 Link 4s out. Unexpected Die, if you control no monster, special summon a level 4 or lower normal monster from your deck, essentially 3 more copies of Lokai. Sunvine Sowing, special summon 1 Sunseed monster from your deck. If you do, take 500 damage. This triggers your Dryas, so you get your 500 life points back, and you also get another monster from your extra deck. Great. If you control no Sunavalon Link monsters, you can only special summon Lokai with this effect. You will only activate this card when you control a Sunavalon Link monster. For the rest of the turn after this effect resolves, you cannot special summon monsters from the extra deck except plants. If a plant Link monster you control will be destroyed by battle or an opponent's card effect, you can banish this card from your graveyard instead. You can only activate 1 Sunvine Sowing per turn. Okay, so this protects you from cards like Yubel the Ultimate Nightmare, Dark Hole, and a few other important ones, namely the Raiders Unbreakable Mind and the Phantom Knights of Breaksword. There's a lot of destruction going on right now. Ultimate Fusion. Yeah. So this card protects all of your plants at the same time from 1 effect. Really good. Compulse, you don't want to play Crackdown, and IDP is not an option, so Compulse. It's good. Sunavalon Bloom, when this card is activated. If you control a Link 4 or higher plant monster, when this effect resolves, negate the effects of all face-up monsters your opponent currently controls. That is important. When it resolves, if you are playing against Sunavalon and you want to deal with them, if they activate this card and you remove Dry Entrentier from the field as part of a chain, then you get to keep all your monster effects. Just saying. It's going to be hard, I know, but you could do it. So try and kill Dry Entrentier while this card is on the stack, and you will keep your effects at least. After that effect resolves. During damage calculation, if your plant-type Link monster battles, you can activate this effect. It gains attack equal to the combined attack of the monsters it currently points to until the end of the turn. Damage calculation is a weird step. It's after it's too late for the fight to be redirected. But if you are the attacker, then I think that this resolves in your favor. So like you can activate your effect, and then if your opponent has an optional effect, then they can't activate it after you've gotten the damage buff. I used this to kill someone through Kiteroid. They did not activate Kiteroid when I attacked them with a 0 attack monster, and then I got to activate Bloom's effect to get 5,000 attack points, and my opponent did not Kiteroid me, so I assumed that they didn't have the option to. You can only use this effect once per turn, you can only activate 1 per turn. Bloom is great, you draw it off of your Dry Entrentier, and it's just a fantastic, good card. You don't need to play it more 1. For the extra deck, we have Sunvine Thrasher. This requires a plant normal monster, so it's just Lokai. If a Sunavalon Link monster you control leaves the field by card effect, destroy this card. That is mandatory, and it is unfortunate. So this will activate if you have 2 Sunvine Thrashers out and your opponent compulses your Dry Entrentier. Both of your Sunvine Thrashers will die immediately. If this card is special summoned, you can target 1 Sunavalon Link monster on the field. This card gains attack equal to that monster's Link rating times 800. You will notice it does not have to be linked to the Sunavalon Link monster that it targets, and you don't have to control it either. So I have multiple times now had someone crack down my Dry Entrentier, and then I was still able to summon Thrasher. Like, they did it either after I had summoned back Lokai, or, you know, I was just in a position where I could make Thrasher, and I just went ahead and made Thrasher and targeted their Sunavalon, Dry, and Trentier, and then just my Thrasher had 4,000 attack points anyway. So this effect is really, really good, and Crackdown is not a very good card to use against Sunavalon, thankfully. When this card destroys an opponent's monster of battle, you can special summon that monster to your zone. A Link monster points to but negate its effects. Does not have to be a Sunavalon monster. If this card is in your extra monster zone, you can special summon it to the zone that Sunvine Thrasher points to, which is pretty nice. Again, the skill prevents you from summoning any monsters other than Link monsters. It's possible that this skill isn't the best skill for Sunavalon, but for right now, it's the one I like. Sunavalon Dryas requires 1 level 4 or lower plant-type monster. If this card is link summoned in the extra monster zone, using Sunseed genus Lokai as material, you can add 1 Sunvine spell or trap from your deck to your hand. That is not once per turn. Great. This card cannot be targeted for attacks, does not prevent your opponent from attacking you directly. Once per turn, if you take battle or effect damage, you can gain back that much life points, and if you do, special summon 1 Sunvine monster from your extra deck. So, Dryas will activate when you play your Sowing. You get your 500 life points back, you summon your Healer, you get another 300 life points, and it's a free extension because it's a Link 1. So, great. Bengalancer the Resurgent. It is still very hard for me to believe this card is in the game. This is probably one of the best plant monsters in the entire game. It's a Link 4, requires 2 or more plant monsters. During the main phase, as a quick effect, you can target 1 effect monster your opponent controls. Take damage equal to half its attack points. If you did take damage, return it to the hand. This means that you cannot target a monster with 0 attack points. So, for example, you cannot use this effect on Yubel the Ultimate Nightmare, which is really annoying. If this card is in your graveyard, you can banish 2 or more Link monsters from your graveyard, whose combined Link ratings exactly equal 4. Special summon this card, but banish it when it leaves the field. So, if you have, for example, your Link 3 Sunavalon Melius and your Link 1 Sunavalon Dryas, you can special summon this card from your graveyard. That's really good. You can only use 1 Bengalancer the Resurgent effect per turn, and only once that turn. Okay. Sunavalon Dry and Trentier. This is a Link 4. It requires 2 or more Link monsters. You cannot make this card with just plants like you can with Bengalancer. They have to be Link monsters. This is hard to play around because Melius does not point to a zone that you can Link summon to if it is summoned in your extra monster zone. So if you make Melius with 3 monsters on your field, and you don't already have a Link monster from, say, your Dryas' effect, then you are not able to make your Dry and Trentier. Difficult. Dry and Trentier, if this card is Link summoned, you can add 1 Sunavalon spell or trap from your deck to your hand. The only Sunavalon spell or trap in the entire game is Sunavalon Bloom. This card cannot be destroyed by your opponent's card effects, and cannot be targeted for attacks, but does not prevent your opponent from attacking you directly. Unlike the other Sunavalon Link monsters, this card does not give you life points back if you are damaged. Once per turn, you contribute 1 Link monster this card points to, destroy any number of cards your opponent controls up to that monster's Link rating. That's fantastic. So for example, if you have Bengalancer out, and you can pass your opponent, bounce one of their cards, then when it's your turn, you tribute the Bengalancer and pop 4 cards your opponent controls that doesn't target. Really, really good effect. Sunavalon Melius. This requires 2 or more plant monsters, including at least 1 Link monster. If this card is Link summoned, you can special summon from your graveyard 1 Sunseed genus Lokai. That is not once per turn. This card cannot be targeted for attacks, but does not prevent you from being attacked directly. Once per turn, you can target 1 Sunvine Link monster you control that this card points to. This turn, it can attack a number of times each battle phase up to the number of Sunavalon Link monsters you currently control. That is dumb. That is very, very good. So you can just make your opponent get crushed by your Thrasher with like 4 attacks, if you can optimize your board properly. Alright, so that's the deck. Basically, you want to make Dry and Trentier and your Sunvine Thrasher turn 1. Let's take a look at the replay. Alright, we are going first against Rockets. And we have an insane hand. So we have Lokai, we have Rose Girl, and we have World Legacy Succession. That is basically every extension in our entire deck. We normal summon Lokai. Link it off. Dryas. Dryas' effect, we add our Sowing. Activate Sowing. Special summon the Sunseed Twin. The reason we did not use Rose Girl is because when you play Sowing, it fills your board. So Twin, revive Lokai, Dryas effect Chain Link 2, special summon a monster from the extra deck. We have no room for Rose Girl. Healer, we gain 300. Link the 3 off, including the Dryas, to make the Melius. Melius, bring back the Loci, and now we will use Rose Girl. Alright, link the 2 Link monsters off into the Dry Entrentier. Dry Entrentier, draw the Bloom. Then we activate the World Legacy Succession. We bring the Melius back to the zone that the Dry Entrentier points to, and link Melius and Rose Girl off into Bengalancer. Then we link our Sunseed Genus Loci off into Thrasher. Thrasher gains 3,200 attack points. We set 2 and we pass. Amazing. So our opponent's turn, they draw, they're going to activate their skill. Reveal Exploder Rocket Dragon, mill Borlo Dragon, and the Double Disruptor Dragon to draw Artifact Lancia. Then they will banish Double Disruptor Dragon from their graveyard to draw Heavy Interlock. That's really good. They activate their skill, and they're going to special summon Quad Whirl Dragon from their extra deck. Then they activate its effect to discard a card to destroy 1 face-up monster on the field. They target our Bengalancer the Resurgent. We will banish Sunvine Sowing from our graveyard to prevent that destruction. Our opponent probably should have gone ahead and used that Lancia that they drew. Riot Dragon's effect, destroy the rocket in the hand to add it back to the hand, and then they can play the Heavy Interlock. But first they're going to Nebula Dragon to get the monster back. Normal summon Rocket Tracer, activate Heavy Interlock. Rocket Tracer destroys Heavy Interlock. Special summon the Magna Rocket Dragon from the deck, then destroy 2 rockets in hand to ritual summon Borload Riot Dragon. Then he will link the Link 2 and the 2 rockets off into Link 4 Borload Dragon. And I'm going to immediately compulse that. Borload Dragon's effect activates in response. I cannot activate Sunavalon Bloom in response because you can't respond to Borload Dragon's effect. So Sunvine Thrasher loses 500 attack points permanently. Kind of sad. Alright, the opponent is going to then go into the battle phase and attack with their Borload Riot Dragon. Now, Borload Riot Dragon, because of Heavy Interlock, is unaffected by the activated effects of effect monsters that were special summoned from the extra deck. In addition, it cannot be destroyed in battle by a monster special summoned from the extra deck. Neither of those effects is an effect of Borload Riot Dragon, they are the effect of Heavy Interlock. But I activate my Sunavalon Bloom, I now negate all of its effects, and then my Bengalancer the Resurgent gains the attack points of any monster it points to during the damage step, so it gains 3,500 attack points from the Sunvine Thrasher, making its attack power 6,000. My opponent's monster cannot be destroyed in battle, but the opponent takes 3,000 damage and my Bengalancer remains untouched. My turn. I draw, my opponent concedes. There you go. So we outed a Link 4 and an unoutable Ritual monster with ease. My name is Serafi, and I was thrilled to have all of you with me.